After studying this module, you shall be able to know about the concept of logistic regression analysis, learn the concepts, application and methods of cluster analysis, and understand the path analysis as a multivariate technique. Introduction: Exploring relationships using multivariate analysis. The social science research purports to explain relationships among the chosen variables. This can be achieved in two basic ways. Firstly, by the methods of correlation and regression that we have studied in the preceding modules of this paper. Using these methods, the researchers study the directly observed variables and apply the techniques of correlation and regression to identify the relationships among them. Of course, it is assumed that the variables are measured directly and implicitly and not subject to errors. The other methods adopted to explore relationships among the variables can be that the observed variables are related to some higher order latent variables. This means that the variables which were directly observed during the process of research are actually indicative of some higher order latent variable which was actually not part of the research as a direct and implicit variable. Thus, more than one of the observed variables may be indicative of some latent variables. These latent variables or higher order variables turn out to be important and vital to the findings of the research. The present module attempts to explore relationships among the observed variables using three popular multivariate methods, namely logit analysis and logistic regression, cluster analysis and path analysis. The module would study the concepts and rationale associated with each of the methods along with its application. Among the observed variables 1, 2 and 3 in predicting the observed variable 4, we can see in the figure panel 1. Similarly, the observed variables help in identifying the latent variables that may be explored by studying the relationships among the observed variable. Look at the figure. There are three observed variables 1, 2 and 3 which help in predicting the observed variable 4. However, if we look at the remaining two panels of the figure 1, we find that there are certain latent variables which have emerged out of the observed variables relationships, and this is what we are going to study in the current module. Logistic regression, the concept. The method of logistic regression analysis is an extension to the multiple regression analysis when the data is categorical in nature. When the purpose is to explore the relationship between an independent variable with a number of dependent variables, where the data is in lower scales of measurement, then logistic regression analysis proves to be an asset. Let us illustrate the concept further by taking an example. A therapist wishes to study if a particular psychotherapy cures the patient of phobia. The outcomes can be of two types, cured and not cured. The independent variables are interventions, given or not given, duration of intervention, etc. The probability of a patient getting cured, which is categorical in nature, can be calculated using logistic regression. So, the logistic regression in a nutshell is an answer to the multiple regression when the outcome variable is categorical and the predictor variables can be categorical or continuous in nature. Logistic regression does not profess many restrictions on the level of measurement of the variables to be explored. The predictor variables are free to be discrete in nature rather than categorical in logistic regression. Similarly, the other variables can also be recoded to be discrete and not be categorical. Logistic regression is gaining popularity and may prove to be useful to the researchers just like other multivariate methods. Logistic regression is an extension of the statistical principles we used in the regression to the categorical data. So, one can make predictions about the categorical variables using continuous or categorical predictor data. The logistic regression can be of two types: binary logistic regression, when the researcher aims to predict the membership of only two categorical outcomes in the regression equation, or it can be multinomial or polycotomous logistic regression, when the aim is to predict the membership of more than two variables. The equation of the logistic regression is very much similar to the simple regression equation. The logistic regression, we predict the probability of occurrence of outcome variable rather than the outcome variable itself. The binary logistic regression equation is Py is equal to 1 upon 1 plus e to the power b0 plus b1 x 1j, where Py is the probability of y, e is the natural logarithmic base, b0 is the y-intercept which is a constant, b1 is the gradient of the straight line or the weight attached to the predictor variable x, and x1I is the predictor variable. One must notice bracketed algebraic expression in the equation 1 is the simple regression equation only, and therefore more predictor variables can be added to it in order to write the multinomial or polycotomous logistic regression equation. The resulting equation thus would be Py is equal to 1 upon 1 plus e to the power b0 plus b1 x1I plus b2 x2I plus b3 x3I till the nth term. Observe that the logistic regression equation involves expressions of linear regression. However, linear regression cannot be applied to the categorical data, as the assumption of linearity is violated and erroneous results may be encountered. Expressing the relationship among the variables in logarithmic base would take care of the non-linearity, and this makes the regression model valid for the categorical data too. One can now understand, just like the multiple regression model, we try to fit a model to our data so that we can estimate the value of the outcome variable using the known predictor variable in the data. The logistic regression gives the probability of occurrence of the outcome. So, the value always ranges from 0 to 1. A value closer to 0 implies that y has a poor chance of occurrence, whereas a numerical value approaching 1 would point at a very likely occurrence of y. Also, just like in a linear regression, each predictor has its own coefficient which is estimated by the predictors available from the observed data using the maximum likelihood estimation. So, in logistic regression too, we estimate the value of the outcome variable using the known values of the predictor variable or variables. Log likelihood statistic. The log likelihood statistic is analogous to the residual sum of squares in multiple regression. It is the concept that is based on summing up the probabilities of the predicted and actual outcomes. The value of log linear indicates the amount of unexplained observations left after a model has been fitted. So, larger the log linear statistic, poor the model's predictive power is. So, the log linear statistic can be calculated and compared for different logistic regression models, and the better predictive one can be identified. This is usually done by comparing the log linear of the logistic regression model with the log linear of the baseline model, where only the constant is present, and the result is a chi-square distribution. The significance of the obtained chi-square value can be tested for significance the usual way using chi-square tables. Chi-square distribution as for the log linear statistic. Of course, there are other methods available to assess the significance of logistic regression models. Some of them are Nagel-Kirk's R-square, Wald statistics, Cox and Snell's R-square, and Hosmer and Lemessurier's R-square. These methods are beyond the scope of this present objectives of the text, and therefore the interested readers are advised to read the books on multivariate statistics. The assumptions. The logistic regression analysis shares some of its assumption to the linear and multiple regression analysis only. Some of the assumptions to be met before the application of logistic regression are linearity. The regression analysis with continuous data always assumes a linearity relationship among the variables. The logistic regression, however, cannot claim this as the variables are categorical in nature. As the outcome and predictor variables do not have a valid linear relationship, the logarithmic base, also referred to as logit, is used for the data. So, in logistic regression, the assumption of linearity is a linear relationship between the logit of the outcome variable to the continuous variables in the data. This assumption of linearity can be tested by checking the significance of the interaction term between the predictor and its log transformation. Independence of errors. The data should be independent in nature, that is, just as one commented for the normal regression, the cases should not be repeated as this would lead to over dispersion in the data. This implies that the variance would be more than expected from the model and standard errors are too small. So, violating the assumptions of independence would definitely contribute to erroneous findings. Multicollinearity. The researcher must take care that the predictor variables are not highly correlated among themselves. This can be checked by studying the variance proportions. Although multicollinearity may not be an assumption as such, but it may juxtapose problems in the later analysis. Methods in logistic regression. The logistic regression analysis can be carried out using several methods. Some of them are the forced entry method. All the predictor variables are placed into the regression model together and the parameter estimates are calculated for each block. This is the default method for conducting the logistic regression using SPSS. The stepwise logistic regression method is when the predictors are entered in the model one by one upon following some mathematical criteria. The stepwise method can be of two types, forward and backward method. In the forward stepwise method, the regression model initiates with just the constant, that is B0, and then the best predictor variable is added to the model. This is done by studying the simple correlation between the predictor and the outcome variables. If the addition of this predictor variable to the model improves the predictor ability of the model, it is retained, and the next predictor variable, the one with the next highest semi-partial correlation with the outcome, is added. The process of adding new predictors to the model and assessing its predictive ability to retain or reject it continues till the newly added predictor variables improve the predictive power of the model significantly. The backward method starts with each predictor as part of the regression model. At each step, the predictors meet the removal criteria and the ones which are the least contributory to the outcome are removed. The model is then reassessed. As the forward method runs a higher risk of type 2 error because skipping a predictor variable that actually predicts the outcome, the backward stepwise regression method is a preferred choice. The choice of the method to be used actually depends upon the nature of the study also. In exploratory research, when there are no hypotheses to back on, stepwise methods are more suitable. But the backward method of stepwise regression is preferred to avoid type 2 error. Like most of the multivariate statistical methods, the logistic regression is also fraught with lengthy and complex mathematical operations. Hence, it is advisable to perform it using a suitable computer program only, like SPSS. Using IBM SPSS for logistic regression analysis. We shall go by the example that we started with earlier once again. A psychotherapist wishes to test if a new intervention is effective in the treatment of phobia among the children. The outcome variable is measured categorically as cured, coded as 1, and not cured, coded as 0. The two predictor variables are presentation of the intervention, given, coded as 1, and not given, coded as 0, and the duration of the intervention. So, 113 subjects were chosen, out of which 57 were exposed to intervention and 56 were not given any intervention. Let us list the commands to carry out the logistic regression. Select, analyze, go to regression, go to binary logistic, regression. Click on cured, drag to the dependent variable and enter. Click on duration, drag to covariates and enter. Regression, go to stepwise, go to forward and enter. Run and save the results. Cluster analysis. The concept. Cluster analysis is a set of tools and methods that help in classifying the obtained data according to some pre-existing groups or certain criterion decided by the researcher. When the data set comprises of a number of multivariate measures on a large set of individuals or objects, the aim is to build clusters or groups. This grouping can be achieved by identifying the natural similarities or the commonalities based on some criteria. The technique of cluster analysis helps in achieving this classification or grouping using some natural criteria or any other that would make research analysis meaningful. A large group of observations on a number of multivariates, like obtaining data on the organized workforce of a company on a numerous behavioral parameters and then grouping them into different groups of similar behavioral patterns, can be done using cluster analysis. A good cluster analysis will provide the researcher with clusters that would show high intra-class similarity and low inter-class similarity. Cluster analysis has been referred to as pattern recognition, classification and numerical taxonomy also. In the previous module, we have studied the multivariate method of discriminant analysis, which may appear very close to the concept of cluster analysis. The two methods differ in their approach. The discriminant analysis proceeds with knowledge of group membership and arrives at combination of measures to distinguish the groups. The cluster analysis, on the other hand, starts with the distinguishing measures and arrives at the groups. The more inquisitive researchers would follow cluster analysis with a discriminant analysis to explore the nature of groupings which have been discovered with cluster analysis. The steps in cluster analysis. The clustering can be done according to two basic steps. First is the choice of commonality or proximity criteria. The set of observations obtained on an individual or object are studied to identify the similarities prevailing among them. Identifying the criteria of similarity or proximity among the values and clustering them accordingly would lead to a homogeneous subgroup of items. The proximity among the observations can be identified by using the various available methods. These methods either attempt to study the closeness or the distance among the scores to identify their proximity. The choice of the available methods is dependent upon the scale of measurement used for observing the variables. As a result, the distance functions obtained are different for data in categorical, ordinal or quantitative scale. The other method is choice of cluster building algorithm. On the basis of the proximity or similarity criteria chosen in the first step of the subgroups are formed. The rationale behind this is to enhance the commonality among the items clustered together, thereby making them homogeneous set. Also, as the similar sets of observations are grouped together, the different subgroups are now more exclusive. The differences among the groups are high and the similarities within the groups are high too. The clustering can be achieved either by forming hierarchies, starting with each item as a cluster and then exchanging observations till an optimal set is achieved, or it can also be done by partitioning method, where the whole data matrix may be seen as a single cluster and then grouping proceeds. However, one drawback of using the hierarchy method is that the items cannot be exchanged at a later stage, but this can be done using the partition method. In spite of the drawback, the hierarchical method is more popular in research analysis. The process of unification of observations into clusters can be graphically represented using a dendrogram. The methods of cluster analysis. The process of cluster analysis is akin to grouping the multivariate data into optimal clusters that are dissimilar to each other, but the observations in each cluster are high on similarity. The arrival at the optimal clusters can proceed on the following lines. Similarities among the observations based on certain measures and the distance between the clusters on those measures. Similarities among the observations can also be arrived on the basis of certain within or between comparisons of variability among the clusters. When the clustering is to be done for the variables rather than observations, then similarity among the variables may be decided on analyzing the correlations among the pairs of variables. Clusters can be arrived at graphically also by drawing scatter plots in case of two variables or a dendrogram. The quality of clustering result depends upon the methods used and their implementation. There is a dimension of subjectivity involved in cluster analysis which does affect its quality. The applications of cluster analysis. Cluster analysis is useful when the data matrix is a large set of observations on multiple variables. When homogeneity, that is the homogeneous subgroups, need to be derived from a largely heterogeneous set of observations. Proximity and hierarchy of observed variables has to be used to analyze the relationships among them, and the fields of applied and natural sciences, marketing research, economics and medical science apply the cluster analysis amply to their research data. Path analysis. The concept of path analysis. Path analysis is a multivariate technique that is designed to test the causal model by applying multiple regression techniques. So, it is not a statistical procedure in itself, rather it makes use of multiple regression techniques to specify the causal links among the variables. The entire process involves using an established theory to develop a model. The variables involved are identified and measured. Using a series of simple multiple regression analysis, path coefficients are derived, and these path coefficients so derived are used as magnitude of causal relationships among the variables. Thus, arriving at a causal model is supported empirically by an established theory only. Let us explain this further by taking an example. The purpose of path analysis is not merely discovering and exploring interrelationships among the chosen variables, but proposing a causal model that rests on strong theoretical and empirical foundations. A consumer behavior model explains that the consumer buys a product only after making queries and taking feedback about the product from friends and users. only when these exploratory behaviors result in positive ideas about the product and intention to buy the product is made. A psychologist wishes to test these behaviors as key to decision making in consumer psychology. So, the measures are obtained on variables like degree of familiarity with the products, positive perceptions about the goods and other related variables. Now, simple correlational analysis may lead to an understanding of the relationships among the variables, but it may not give an indication on the causal relationships. Subjecting the obtained data to a series of multiple regression analysis is what path analysis technique does. After the application of multiple regression techniques, the results are studied. The discussed model can then be validated against the results obtained and some tentative conclusions regarding the causal relationships among the variables can be arrived at. Types of relationships, variables and causal models in path analysis. Identifying the right type of causal relationship and model is the key to effective path analysis. As path analysis is not a statistical procedure, rather a prudent application of techniques, the figure discusses some possible causal relationships. Look at the figure and the three panels there. Let us understand a few causal relationships by looking at the figure. The simplest relationship is when an independent variable A causes the dependent variable B to change its value. A is a slightly complex relationship would be when two uncorrelated variables A and C cause the variable B to change as shown in the second kind of panel. This relationship suggests that the dependent variables have multiple causes of change which may actually not be related to each other. Although the causal variables A and C are unrelated, they are responsible for changes in the values of the dependent variable B. Let us proceed to panel C. The curved arrows between variable A and C signify a correlation among the two variables. Variables A and C in path analysis, arrowed straight lines signify a causal relationship and curved arrows stand for correlational relationship. One must keep that in mind always. And together the correlated variables A and C which are joined by the curve which is arrowed, the arrowed curve, together these two correlated variables cause the changes in the dependent variable B which is shown by the straight arrow line. The simple and complex relationships emerge and they are important to be understood and diagnosed in path analysis as they combine to form complex causal models. Different combinations of these causal relationships are shown as they form causal chains and complex causal models. So, in path analysis, it is essential that the researcher has a crystal clear understanding and conceptualization of the model being investigated and explored. Otherwise, the model one would develop through path analysis may not be valid. Look at figure, we shall see how the relationships are combining. Figure shows 3 and 4 variables relationships as they form causal chain, which in turn form the complex causal models that we find in figure B. Have a look at these two variables, at the two variables as they relate in figure A. The first two variables A and B are called exogenous variables. They do not share any causal path. See, there is a straight line with arrow between them. The variables C, D and E are endogenous variables as they are connected by causal paths. As the word endogenous suggests, C, D and E are internal to the path model and are believed to be caused by other variables. The panel B in figure is essentially the same causal model, but there is a difference as the variables A and B are uncorrelated. Both the models in panels A and B are recursive models. Now, recursive models are The, they are recursive as the causal paths are unidirectional only. The panel C in figure is a non-recursive model, as there is a causal loop. Variable A is a cause of variable C by operating through variable B. In turn, one can see that the variable C is also a cause of A, thus forming a loop. Of course, it is no guess that the recursive models are easier to study and understand than non-recursive ones. Interpreting the path analysis coefficients. Once the causal models have been developed, the variables are quantified and the estimates of causal relationships are obtained. These estimates are referred to as path coefficients. The path coefficients are calculated by the multiple regression analysis, and each of the endogenous variable is the dependent variable and all the other variables in the model are the predictors. If variable C is the dependent variable, then A, B and D will be predictors. The standardized beta weights obtained from the regression analysis serve as the path coefficients here. There are other methods too to obtain the path coefficients, like semi-partial correlation, as it provides the estimate of relationship among two variables by holding other variables as constants. The researchers have already a presumed causal model and the obtained path coefficients now. These path coefficients help in validating the expected patterns of relationships. Along with the path coefficients, which provide an estimate of direct relationships among the variables, the researcher has to decompose the paths into indirect effects. A simple path is the direct relationship and link between two variables, whereas the compound path comprises of combinations of simple paths, that is indirect causal paths from one variable to another. There are certain rules that apply to decomposing the compound paths to simple ones. They are: a path shall not pass via the same variable more than once, backward movement of a path is not possible, and a path shall not pass through a double-headed curved arrow more than once. Of course, interpreting and applying path analysis is a tricky proposition, and it needs thorough understanding and conceptual clarity. There is no easy way around, but the researcher's ingenuity and intellect helps always. Summary. The present module attempts to explore relationships among the observed variables using three popular multivariate methods, namely logit analysis and logistic regression, cluster analysis and path analysis. The method of logistic regression analysis is an extension of multiple regression analysis when the data is categorical in nature. When the purpose is to explore the relationship between an independent variable with a number of dependent variables, where the data is in lower scales of measurement, then logistic regression analysis proves to be an asset. The logistic regression can be binary logistic regression and multinomial or polychotomous logistic regression. There are other methods available to assess the significance of logistic regression models. Some of them are Nagle-Kirk's R-square, Wald statistics, Cox and Snell's R-square, and Hosmer and Lemeshaw's R-square. The logistic regression analysis shares some of its assumptions to the linear and multiple regression analysis. Methods in logistic regression are two: the forced entry method and the stepwise logistic regression method. Like most of the multivariate statistical method, the logistic regression is also fraught with lengthy and complex mathematical operations, and hence it is advised to perform it using suitable computer program only, like SPSS. The steps involved in SPSS are also discussed in the text. Cluster analysis is a set of tools and methods that help in classifying the obtained data according to some pre-existing groups or certain criterion decided by the researcher. Cluster analysis has been referred to as pattern recognition, classification and numerical taxonomy also. The clustering can be taken up according to two basic steps: the choice of commonality or proximity criterion and choice of cluster building algorithm. The process of cluster analysis is akin to grouping the multivariate data into optimal clusters that are dissimilar to each other, but the observations in each cluster are high on similarity. Clustering result depends upon the methods used and their implementation. There is a dimension of subjectivity involved in cluster analysis which may affect its quality. The path analysis is a multivariate technique that is designed to test the causal models by applying the multiple regression techniques. So it is not a statistical procedure in itself, rather it makes use of multiple regression techniques to specify the causal links among the variables. The path analysis is a multivariate technique that is designed to test the causal models by applying multiple regression techniques. So it is not a statistical procedure in itself, rather it makes use of multiple regression techniques to specify the causal links among the variables. The text discusses the types of relationships, variables and causal models in path analysis that help in deciphering the application of path analysis technique to the research data. Once the causal models have been developed, the variables are quantified and the estimates of the causal relationships are obtained. These estimates are referred to as path coefficients. The researcher already has a presumed causal model and the obtained path coefficients help in validating the expected patterns of relationship.